grab me a beer and grab him a coke. We about to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brandon T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the show, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do, hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and reminisce about old, crazy, fun stories. I'm sober now, but that is still one of my favorite things to do, hang out with a friend and reminisce about crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by a guest. This week is no exception. Comedian, showrunner extraordinaire of The Village Idiot, the other producer, Isaac Gartenberg.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, man.
For sure.
How you doing?
I'm great. Yeah, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Plug everything up front real quick. Plug the show, social media, everything.
Cool. Yeah, Village Idiot comedy show. We do it every Monday, 10 p.m. at the Mayfly, every Wednesday, 7:30 at the Juke Bar, East Village, Lower East Side. We post about it all on Instagram at The Village Idiot. My Instagram is just IsaacG53.
There you go. Perfect. So I wanted to have you on. We had Andrew on, who had some stories.
Yeah, he's got a lot of those.
Yeah, well, it was funny because when I ran into you guys, I think I told this on his episode, but when I ran into you guys at one of the mics, I was like, oh, you guys should come on and do the podcast. And you looked at me and you go, well, I don't know about me, but this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then he came on and he had some pretty fun stories and it was a lot of fun. And then you texted me after, you're like, yeah, I'll do it too. Like, oh, come on, let's do it.
Well, I was just trying to figure out with like work how to get on, but I have, I'm starting a new job, so I just have like a week off. So
it's beautiful. Well. It worked out perfect. So tell everybody, I like to do this with all my first time guests. Tell everybody kind of about yourself. Did you come up in New York or where are you originally from?
Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey.
Okay.
But I have a lot of family in New York. Like my grandparents live here, my uncles. So I've been,
You've been a product of the city your whole life.
Yeah, in some ways. But I definitely grew up in Jersey on the shore.
Yeah. Did you beat the beat up?
Well, it was like, not like the show, a little more north.
The way you said the shore, I got all excited.
I know. I don't like that, though.
Yeah?
Is
that a stigma? That,
I think so.
Yeah, that now that you have to live with since that show came out?
But I do love the show. It's just like...
Do you really?
Oh, it's awesome. But it's like an hour south of me. So I was like a little more quiet of a town.
Yeah. God, this is going to sound really sad, but it's ex-drinking, buddy, so I'll tell you. When I got really bad into my alcoholism, no one would want to drink with me, and I wouldn't want to drink with anybody else. So Netflix originally started airing, this is years ago, the first like 3 or 4 seasons of Jersey Shore.
Okay.
So I would just lock myself in the back room of my cousin's apartment and watch Jersey Shore on my phone and like project myself into the environment and be like, yeah, we're all drinking,
Those are your friends.
Those were my friends.
That's
that I would do shots with. Like when they would start drinking, I would start drinking and I'd be alone, like in my underwear, sitting at a computer desk watching it on my phone. And I'd be like, yeah, we're getting fucked up.
And
T-shirt time.
You start drunk driving. It's like, yeah, I'm the cab driver tonight. Let's go.
But yeah, that's my fondest memories of Jersey Shore.
I didn't watch it until like quarantine when I had nothing to do.
Oh, really? Yeah, so you got late to the party.
Yeah, I'm like, well, this is like kind of part of my heritage in some way.
Part of my heritage.
I should really know.
You're going to see me taking notes, but that's just stuff that I want to remember.
Yeah, that's cool.
So how did you, when did you start doing comedy?
I guess it depends like how far back you want to go. I don't know. Like stand-up comedy, I did.
When did you start doing like open mics and doing stand-up and stuff?
Yeah, so I say like it started kind of like a year and 2 months ago, like February 2021. Okay. But I did like 10 open mics between February and March 2020, and then I took like the year off with COVID and everything.
We count that because I started in 2009 and then took...
I don't count it. You can count it.
Yeah, I know. I count it. When people ask, I go, I started in 2009, and I was doing like an open mic like every 3 weeks, but I count it.
All right. Well, we could keep different numbers. That's fine.
It's like when you talk to a guy about how many girls you've been with, and they're like, how many girls have I made out with? It's like, no. How many girls have you had sex with, dude?
Oh, no,
That's
we're
what
talking hand-holding. It all counts.
Yeah, it all. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
that's how I keep my numbers.
No, I'm like,
if we locked eyes awkwardly at a bar, that counts.
Yeah. No, mine's like, how many of them did I love, you know?
Yeah, yours is strictly love.
Yeah.
So, have you always been a fan of comedy?
Yeah, I always liked comedy.
So was it stand-up? Because I've had people on and they talk about whether they like the comedic movies or TV shows or stand-up itself. What were you more of a fan of? Like growing up, like what was your appointment television?
Well, I came up like watching like Rodney Dangerfield with like my dad and my grandpa. I feel like a lot, but I also loved like comedic movies, TV shows, and like also when I was a kid, like YouTube was like starting to be a big.
Oh yeah, because you're a lot younger than me, so that was
I'm
that would
25,
have been a big thing.
so that was. Yeah, YouTube was huge. I was like, I love that stuff, but also stand up and.
Geez, so you came into stand up when you were able to just like pull up a comic that you liked and watch clips on YouTube. You could do because when I first got into stand up when I was 12, it was like the Comedy Central Presents, like when that was a huge deal. And I would record it on VHS. This is how old I am. I would record them on VHS. Okay. So I would have them. So I had like Mitch Hedberg, Tom Rhodes, like the first one Dane Cook did. Like I had all those like recorded.
That's cool.
And then I would just go back and watch them. But you came up where you could just be like, oh, YouTube, Sam Morril, and then it just pops up.
So I came up like, I think the first show I went to, I think I was like 16. I went to see, it was for my sister's birthday. Somehow I made this her birthday present. Like I got to go see Moshe Kasher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Caroline. So took the train from Jersey, met up with my sister. She was in college here, and it's a great show. But like I used to love his stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, he's hilarious. Him and Natasha are so funny.
Yeah. I haven't watched him in so long, but that was
the first kind of when you were like, oh, this is fucking cool.
Yeah, and he was like Jewish and like religious, so it was like kind of similar.
Oh yeah, because you talk about being Jewish a lot in your set.
What else can I talk about?
Well, let's get into it. So you came up in Jersey, and you said you grew up an hour north of the actual Jersey Shore, like the party shore. So was it like a big party town where you grew up, or
no, not at all?
Just quiet, sleepy kind of suburbs?
Yeah, I'd say over like maybe the last like 5-10 years, like in the summer, it becomes a little more party town, but like pretty quiet. Like winter's completely dead. Everyone leaves. And it's just like small.
Did you guys leave in the winter, or did you?
No, we were there all the time.
Yeah.
But
you're like, no, we're riding this out. We don't have a fucking summer home.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
No, this is just my home. Like you guys come.
Yeah, you guys come to visit. This is where I live.
Yeah, I live here. I have to be here in the winter. It's freezing and it sucks, but I'll be here.
So because I know we heard Andrew's perspective, how did you start, how did you get into the Village Idiot? How did that whole thing start?
Well,
he was, I don't mean to interrupt, but he was telling us, because I know we have a lot of listeners, so I don't want to like go back and rehash the exact story that he told, but he was telling us how when COVID happened, you guys found kind of the loophole being able to do an indoor comedy show at a bar because bars were open, but comedy clubs were shut down. Am I remembering that right? Yeah,
I guess, but like we were trying to just start an open mic. Like, Andrew's been doing comedy longer than I have.
Yeah, he talked about that.
But how he's
so much better than you. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I have the hair, I have the height. It's all good. He could have a little more.
I'm kidding.
More skill.
What do I just start this huge rift up?
No, we're gonna fight after this.
You're gonna be like, "Fuck you, man."
I ran today. I'm gonna go do 12 push-ups and beat the shit out of him.
So, you said you wanted to just start an open mic. Was that just because you were like, "Oh, I'm newer to comedy, and this is what you do"? You start shows.
Well, we were just like, our plan was like, let's start an open mic, and then like in 6 months to a year, let's start a show.
Okay.
And we went around to a bunch of bars and juke bar that we went in there, and they're like, we're not an open mic bar, we're a show bar. Like if you guys want to do a show.
So is that a very strict distinction in New York City? Because I've noticed that there's some places where it's like, we had open mics there, but then people were like, oh no, we have to call it a show. It can't be an open mic. Like they said, they only want shows here. Is that something that happens in New York?
Well, I think with the show, you're going to get an audience. With the mic, you're not.
So is that what the bar's whole mindset is? Like, we're not going to do just an open mic for like 10 comics?
Yeah, I think they just wanted to have more people in if they were going to be opening it to comedy.
Okay,
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then they said, you guys could do a show here. Or at first they didn't, and then we like followed up with them a couple times, and then eventually started a bi-weekly show, and like I guess a month or two ago, we started making it weekly there. And
well, because it's a huge show, and I was telling Andrew the same thing. It's like you guys have some of the best comics in New York on the show, which makes them some of the best comics in the world,
right?
Because New York is the mecca for stand-up. So it's turned into like this huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great for us, you know.
Did you expect this when you started it? I mean, I obviously I don't think you would, but that's what New York's all about, is like starting something on a whim and then hoping that it turns into something.
I mean, I don't think we wouldn't still be doing it if it didn't work out.
Yeah.
For one, but I think I mean the first few shows, like first couple months, like I was packing it with like my friends. Like,
yeah.
They're like sold out shows, but at least half the people in there were my friends, and like they still come to the shows all the time. Like they support it. So, and Andrew, like he's great with like the online marketing stuff.
Yeah.
So it just, I think both of us together, we knew it would. We didn't know it would work out, but we kind of forced it to work out.
Yeah, you just kept doing it until it worked. That's like me with everything in my life.
Yeah,
I'm just going to keep doing it, and then eventually someone's going to listen.
Yeah, or you die and whatever.
Yeah,
but
nobody cares.
Exactly.
But at least we have a record of everything that I've ever done.
It's all on Instagram.
God, isn't it though? So we talked about the Village Idiot, how that whole thing got started. When did you decide, like, I'm going to start taking comedy more seriously? Was that before you guys started doing the Village Idiot, when you first started doing open mics? Or because you said you took that year off, but I know there's a point in every comedian's life where they're like, all right, I gotta, either shit or get off the pot, basically.
Right.
So what was the experience that led you to that?
Well, I did like those few open mics, and then everything shut down for COVID, so it forced me to stop. And I didn't want to do the outdoor mics. I was like so new. I was like super nervous. I was like, I don't want to say these things outside in the public. So I stopped. Like over that year, I kept thinking like, man, I really want to do this. And then as soon as it opened, we just kind of hit the ground.
Okay,
running.
so it was the stand-up getting taken away from you, where you were kind of like, wait, I really want to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. How did the first show you did, how did that go? When you first started doing the open mics before everything got shut down, how did you like it? How did you feel? Were they good shows?
Like the open mics I was
doing?
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
because I've had people on and they're like, yeah, I brought a bunch of my friends and I fucking murdered. Then I've had people on and they're like, no, I bombed for like 3 months straight and I hated my life, but I kept going. I
definitely didn't bring any friends.
Yeah.
One of my friends came with me, but he was also trying an open mic.
Yeah.
I thought I was getting laughs. I listened back to them like kind of recently.
Oh, so you recorded it?
Yeah, I recorded like starting from the second one. The first one
yeah, that's gone forever.
Yeah, but I didn't get any laughs, but I thought I was. But now listening back, any of the laughs were like laughs at, not laughs with kind of thing.
Big distinction. Yeah. Yeah,
but at the time, those laughs at were enough to get me to keep going.
Yeah, because that's something that I've started to realize now in my older age, is that like we were talking about this before we started recording, but I'll go to open mic sometimes and I try to only do new stuff, and then I'll bomb, and then I'm like, well, let me bring out old stuff, and then that bombs, and then I'm like, let me just make fun of myself. I just want somebody to give me something.
Right.
And so then I'll just start. I remember when I went back home, I told the story about Soder and Burr and all that on stage. And one of the comics came up to me after and she goes, you don't really do that on stage, do you? And I go, what do you mean? She goes, you don't tell those like self-deprecating, like celebrity sighting stories on stage in New York, do you? And I go, no, I was just bombing so badly. I wanted something from the audience.
Anything to get a laugh, to get a reaction.
Yeah, like I'll make myself look like an asshole and be like, hey, I got to meet Bill Burr and he called me a fucking creep. Just to get that. Just to be like, somebody give me something.
Right.
But God, those first couple open mics are brutal. Luckily, mine were so long ago that I barely remember them.
Yeah.
Because I got wasted before.
Right.
Like so drunk that I thought, I won't be nervous because I'll just keep drinking. And then I was still nervous and then just hammered. So it was like the worst mix.
I don't think I would maybe have like one beer before them, one or two before them.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time someone told me I was funny, like after a mic, and it was the best feeling ever. And it was like an audience member too. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's always great.
Yeah, it was cool.
There are times, has this ever happened? This happened to me at the Hell Yeah show. This was the most recent time. But I brought like a bunch of people. Well, I brought my cousin and she brought a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. And during the show, I'm like, I'm not, like my material's dark. So I was like, oh, it's not going to play to these attractive 20-something-year-old white women. Like this is not going to work. But my cousin was nice enough and sweet enough to bring a bunch of her friends, and that just happened to be the room. So it's like, fucking figure it out, stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that's your job.
Mm-hmm.
And halfway through the set, I'm like, oh, this is not going as well as I had hoped. And then after, like 3 or 4 of her friends came up, they're like, you were so funny. Like, everyone was funny, but you were so funny. And I was like, what? Like, no, I wasn't. Like, nobody laughed. Like, what are you talking about? But that feeling when someone comes up to you after just randomly and it's like, you're funny. Yeah. That's probably the most validation
definitely
any of us could ask for.
That's what it's all for, right?
Yeah, because I've done shows where I've crushed in the room and then afterwards everyone just kind of walks by you to leave and you're like, wait, didn't anybody like it?
Yeah.
But I think it's a better feeling where, just for me selfishly, it's a better feeling where maybe I don't do as well in the room, but then people are coming up to me after because then I'm like singled out and I'm like, yeah, what's up?
We had a show like that recently, though.
Did you?
Where it was like mostly like young, like 20-year-old girls, like early 20s, and they were all looking at us, smiling the whole show. No one laughed. We all thought we were bombing, and then after they come up to us, like that was the best thing ever. I'm like, what are you talking about? No one laughed. Like it's our first time ever seeing a comedy show, but we love that.
Yeah, some people don't. My girlfriend Savannah, friend of the show, she's the same way. She's not an auditory auditory. She's not a loud laugher.
Right.
She smiles and nods, and then she'll be like, "That was hilarious."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
"That's not what I'm here for.
That's not conducive to yeah." But like, I remember we watched the new Taylor Tomlinson set on Netflix, and it was hilarious, and we were laughing like I was dying. And I looked over at her and she was just doing the smile and nod. And I was like, afterwards, I was like, did you not like that? She goes, no, it was probably one of the best specials we've ever watched. And I was like, the fuck is wrong with you?
I can't really laugh when I'm watching it at home a lot of the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I'm like there, I could laugh way better.
Yeah. Well, it's an in the room kind of thing.
For sure.
But I to this day, I'll go back and watch like Mostly Stories, like Tom's second special on Netflix, and I will still laugh out loud to myself but I'm a psycho,
right?
But it's the same. I used to watch Jersey Shore do shots, so
That's
it's
true.
like, yeah, I'm not probably the best template for what to laugh at. God, I can't believe I told that story. That's miserable.
That's like a one-man party. I love that.
Yeah, it's next time you've got nothing to do. Do it this week. You have a week off from work.
Right.
Just find something that's like a festive party thing on Netflix and just drink like you're with them.
I don't drink anymore.
And then, see?
Yeah.
Perfect. Boom. Comes back full circle. Well, let's talk about, when did you give up drinking?
Coming up on 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't realize that you had quit drinking too. I knew Andrew did, but I didn't realize you did as well.
For sure. Yeah.
So, let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. Before we get to why you stopped drinking, let's talk about the first time you drank.
Okay.
Because I asked you to send me a list, and at the top of the list, you literally wrote first time drinking.
Well, that was the first time I really drank. Like,
yeah.
I drank, the first time I ever drank, I would think I was on vacation. I honestly don't know how old I was.
8 or 9?
Nah, like 13 or 14.
Okay. Well,
probably.
It's Jersey, so I don't know.
That's true. But
I invite you on just to rip the shit out of you the whole time.
That's all good. I'm used to it.
No, so you're like 13 and you're on vacation?
Yeah, somewhere like Mexico or something, just with my family.
Wow. So you guys like went on like vacations.
Well, we had to leave Jersey because it was terrible and cold, and
Yeah, the winter thing I'm not used to. I grew up in Florida. This was the first time I've ever seen snow. Was this past winter?
Did you like it?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I thought it was so cool to like, especially because everyone's like, oh, this is the most snow. Because I live in the city and everyone's like, oh, this is the most snow the city's had in years. And I was like, oh, this is so, like, I'm walking around like FaceTiming with my family. Like, oh my God, look, it looks like the movies. It was fun. But now that it's April and it's still 40 outside, I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it'll be like that till like May.
That's what everyone said. I was like, no. Like middle of March, we'll start. No. I put all my snow stuff up like March like 28th when it was like 60. I was like, oh, all this stuff is going back up in storage.
Oh, no.
And then it dropped back down. And I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It snowed like a week ago.
Well, also the snow in the city sucks. You need to go to the suburbs for good snow because it turns to like mud.
Yeah, it turns to like slush. It's pretty disgusting. But you're in Mexico, getting away from the sludge.
Right. I was in Mexico and I had never drank before. None of my friends had ever drank before. And the whole time we're just like, can I get a drink? Like to the bartenders, our dads are like, no, of course not. Like you're a little kid.
Yeah.
You can't drink with us. And and eventually we just like found an open beer tap somewhere like in the hotel.
Oh, okay. So it was like a bar that just wasn't in service, but they still had all the lines hooked up?
Yeah.
And you were like, jackpot.
We like filled it halfway with beer and then halfway with soda because we were like, and it was in a beer mug. We're like, if anyone sees us, they'll just think we're drinking
ginger ale.
Yeah, exactly. And it tasted amazing.
Yeah.
But like that was just the first time I drank, and like that's all I drank was like half a beer. And it was great. It was the best feeling in the world.
God, it's such a great feeling.
It was awesome. But then the first time I really drank, I must have been a few years later. It was like 16, 17.
So high school in Jersey.
Yeah, the end of high school. And it was, I'm trying to like really remember, but like my friend somehow got a bottle of vodka and we were just in the basement.
Do you remember what kind of vodka? These are always
I think it had to be something shitty.
Yeah.
I don't remember what kind.
Of course it was. Plastic. It was in a plastic bottle.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how he got it, if he had a fake ID or if he stole it from somebody or his parent. I don't know, but it was just some shitty vodka. And we had like these double shot glasses, like the big ones.
Yeah, the big ones, baby.
And it was just 5 of us in the basement. And we're like, all right, let's just do this. And we're just
like it was a mission from God.
Yeah, it was time. Like it's time to drink, boys. Like
here we go, strap in.
Yeah, and
it's
we were
party
just
time,
ripping shots. I don't know how many I drank, but we were wasted.
Yeah.
And then I like called, I think my stepbrother or somebody to come pick me up after because I was just.
So this is at the friend's house. This is not at your house.
Yeah, it was at my friend's house in his basement, and we were just getting wasted. Just I don't know how many we drank, but we finished the bottle for sure.
God.
Just like I remember we had orange juice there. It was just orange juice and
Is this on a weekend or during the week? All these like little details I'm always obsessed with. Weekend. So you don't have anything to do the next day. You don't have to worry about going to class or anything.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night, and we're just ripping the shots. And I don't know. We're probably like calling people, just making fools of ourselves.
Oh yeah, because you guys had cell phones when you first started drinking.
Yeah,
like you had access to all that stuff.
Definitely.
God, that's got to be terrible.
It's the worst.
Because I look back on some of my Facebook statuses when I was in my like late 20s drinking, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I couldn't imagine being 16 or 17 and drinking and having access to the internet.
It's the worst. It shouldn't be allowed. You should have to lock up your phone before you drink.
Yeah, because when I first started drinking when I was like 18, 19 and like really was getting into it, like we had phones, but it wasn't like it is now with the smartphone. God, I hate having young people on this show. It makes me sound like an asshole. But like if I wanted to put up a Facebook status, I would have to log in to Facebook on my computer to do it. And then with the advent of the iPhone and smartphones and stuff, you could just do it from your phone.
Yeah.
And that was a horrible mixture for getting blackout drunk. So you're 17, you have a phone, you're obviously getting hammered, you're calling people, texting people, doing whatever you do. Then you call your stepbrother to come get you.
I'm like, I'm like, you need to come pick me up right now. I need to get home.
Is this at like 2 a.m. or is this at like 10 o'clock at night? Do you remember?
I don't, but I feel like it was probably closer to 2 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Just because you're that young and you're drinking for the first time, so it'd be hilarious. It was like 9:30 and you're like, dude, I'm wasted.
I think it was late, if I remember.
You gotta come get me.
It's hard to remember because I was like from the first time to the last time I drank, I was just blacking out. So
yeah.
A lot of these details are like told to me like afterwards.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't have a lot of details for some of these stories.
I'm very aware of that situation.
Yeah, but then he took me home and I was like, this isn't going to be good. He like put me straight into the bathroom. I was just like throwing up.
Yeah.
I don't know. My dad didn't wait. No one woke up and came. My little sister came and saw me. And this is the only part I like really remember. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Go back to sleep. I'm fine." Just screaming at her. And I don't even know if she remembers that or if she knew I was drunk. I have no idea. I never asked her about it. Never spoke about it again.
Well, hopefully she listens to this and she can reach out and tell you.
Yeah, hopefully she doesn't, but I'm sure she will.
So a lot of the stories that you sent me take place in that time frame between like towards the end of high school and then like college. So was that where you just like ripping and rolling or like what happened? So after the first time you get hammered, are you like, oh, this is something I want to do every weekend? Or were you like, oh, that was terrible. Like, I don't want to do that again.
I probably thought I never wanted to do it again, but then I did it for another like 8 years again.
Just kept doing it.
Yeah. But in high school, I didn't really drink that much.
Yeah.
Because I went to like a small Jewish high school.
Oh, okay.
There was like 40 kids in the grade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty small.
There was 529 kids in my graduating class.
Crazy.
3,200 kids at this school.
That's huge. Yeah.
It was a big school.
Yeah, I knew everybody.
Yeah, that's fun. And especially because it's in Jersey. So now I'm sure, are you still friends with a lot of those people? Like when you have shows, do you invite them out and stuff?
Not really. A lot of them are married, have
really?
kids and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, sucks to suck, you know?
Well, whatever. Good for them. So, no, I'm friends with some of them. They come to shows.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't know because being in that such a close-knit environment and now living, because you still live in Jersey?
No, I live here.
You live in the city now?
Yeah.
What part of the city do you live in?
I'm in the East Village, but
okay.
My lease is about to be up. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Everyone's talking about Astoria.
I'm not going to Queens.
Really? Yeah, see, I'm the same way. I'm not going to Queens.
If I'm here, I'm going to be here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're the only person who's agreed with me on this.
Really?
Yeah, so when Savannah and I were totally going to get off the rails, but we need to fill an hour, so we'll come back to it. But when Savannah and I first moved here, my big thing was, her big thing was, if we're going to live in New York, we're going to live in the city.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing. Because originally I was like all gung-ho, like, hell yeah, let's do it. But then I heard about like the county taxes and the borough taxes and the city taxes. And then I had a couple friends who would summer in New York, like for work. I say summer in New York. We all work in the service industry. So in the summertime, they would come up and work at like fancy country clubs.
Got it.
And then in the winter, they'd come back down to Florida.
But they're not in New York City. They're probably out like in the Hamptons.
That's the thing is they're all telling me like, or some of them were even in Jersey. So they're telling me like, no, go to the outskirts of the city, like go to Jersey City, go to Astoria, go to Queens, go to Brooklyn. And I was like, actually, that sounds a lot better than paying what we pay for rent in a tiny apartment. So I brought it up to Savannah and she's like, you're outside your fucking mind. Like we're already decided, like we're going to live in the city. And now that I live in the city, like in Midtown, I love it.
Yeah.
Like there are parts of it where I'm like, yeah, I wish, like I've gone to other comics apartments and I'm like, wait, you pay half of what I pay and this is 3 times the size and you're only a 30-minute train ride out. But then when I walk outside and I'm like, oh, I'm at 52nd and 2nd. Like, this is pretty badass.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a 10-minute train ride from work. I'm a 10-minute train ride from the stand, a 15-minute train ride from the cellar. I'm like, nah, I think I'm going to stay here.
Well, that's the thing. If I didn't have a day job, I'd probably be more open to living like in Queens or Brooklyn or something. But I work, I'm working 9 to 5 and then I have to run and go do comedy.
You don't have the luxury of time.
Yeah, exactly.
By the time you get off work, you're like the open mics and stuff are starting.
Yeah, I already missed the first round of them.
Yeah.
I need to run over. So if I was doing comedy full time, then I'm happy to save some money. I have the time to commute 30 minutes to go do a mic or a show.
Yeah, because you're not doing anything else.
Exactly. So
yeah, that's something I talked with Steven about last week was this whole balance that you have to find. And we were talking about this before between the hang versus doing mics. But there's there's also a balance when you first like start taking comedy seriously in the first couple of years. Like, especially like I just moved to New York, so I have to start over. So I'm basically at zero.
Right.
I have the material from before, which works like if I'm put on a show, but I don't have the connections or the networking or anything like that. So I have to start over. And there's this weird balance of like, I have a job at a really nice restaurant and everyone at my work is always like, if you work 6 days a week, you'd like kill it. Like you'd make 6 figures. Like you should do that. But then there's another part of me that's like, well, I don't care about money. Right. Like I moved here for comedy. So there's this weird balancing act of like, yeah, I want to work enough to be able to pay my bills and live comfortably. But then I also feel like I'm cheating the quote unquote starving artist, like comedy thing. So do you ever, it's almost like an imposter syndrome. Do you ever feel that because you work like an actual day job? Or are you like, no, that's what I have to do to survive?
Yeah, that's just what I have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do it as long as I have to, but hopefully eventually I don't have to anymore. But
okay. Yeah, because I'm in the same boat, but there's a part of me that feels like, no, if you want to do it, you got to do like what other comics do, which is like make no money and like starve to death.
I don't.
Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's great. But I'd like to be able to pay for things if I want to buy something.
There's that weird thing in the back of my head though, where it's like the story would be so much cooler if I can't, like The Rock. I had $7 in my pocket, but then I go to the grocery store and I'm like, nah, this is expensive. Fuck that.
Yeah. And you could spend your money horribly and also just have $7.
Yeah, that's true. That is something that I do quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like I get my pay stubs and I'm like, I didn't make that much money. Where did it all go?
Exactly.
And then I check my credit card statement. I'm like, oh, I'm going out to eat 3 times a day, 6 days a week. That's where it all went.
Yeah, and also paying to live in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And all that, so.
And then just the subway. The little things you don't think about. Let's get back on track because I derailed us.
All good.
So a lot of your drinking, you're only 25, so it's not like it was forever ago, but a lot of your drinking was between high school and college. So I don't know which one you want to do next. We could do the house party or we could do the visiting colleges. I kind of want to save the visiting colleges one for last because we were very excited about that one.
Well, I just remembered it like that was like a big. I don't remember it, but everyone told me about it. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
So let's go back. Let's talk about the house party you had between the summer between high school and college.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Was a banger?
That's what they tell me too. Oh man, my dad and my stepmom, they were going away for one night. Like they had I don't know. I don't remember why, but they were just coming to the city for one night.
Okay.
And I called.
See a show or something?
Yeah, probably something like that. And they were just like going to stay.
So take us back. So you're 18.
17.
You graduated at 17?
Yeah. I turned
high
18
five.
the
Me
summer
too.
after. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Fucking idiots graduating at 18.
Fools. Yeah, I graduated college at 21.
Yeah. My man. College took me a little longer, but that's when I started getting arrested.
9 years for you or something?
It was 5, but I graduated high school in 2006 and I didn't get out of college until 2012. But I took like a year off.
Graduated high school in 2006?
Yeah.
I graduated middle school in 2010.
I told you, man.
You're pretty old.
Yeah, I'm 33.
I guess that's not that old.
See, when you say it on paper, it's not that old. But then
when the numbers, the years that everything happened, that sounds like a long time.
But that's only because middle school is only 3 years, high school is only 4 years. So like when you think about it that way, it's like, well, yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
that
makes sense.
I'm gonna go home and kill myself. All right. So you're 17.
Yeah,
your dad, and you said your dad and your stepmom. That's who you're living with.
Well, I've lived with my mom and my dad. They live close to each other.
Oh, okay.
But,
yeah, commute too. High five on that.
Yeah, yeah. But they were like super close. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, like a mile away or something.
Yeah. See, my parents live like 30 minutes apart, but we would do the whole, every other weekend.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, that whole thing.
But I was with my mom a little more than with my dad. But
who was the more lax parent, if you don't mind my asking? Because for me, it's a no-brainer. My mom, she was.
Really?
I have a whole bit about it. Like I had the cool mom where she's like, "You guys can drink as long as nobody drives." Or you guys can
drinking? No, they were both.
Very okay.
With drinking, neither one of them was relaxed at all.
So you didn't have like a party parent, like a cool.
No, not like that. Okay. Not at all. Yeah.
Strict Jewish household.
Yeah, relatively, I guess.
Okay.
Definitely, there are more strict, but it wasn't.
Well, there's a reason I've been arrested 8 times and you haven't.
Yeah, I got lucky, I guess.
You had stable parents.
That could be it, too.
You had stable role models. What do you mean? Your mom wasn't taking you to the karaoke bar till 2 a.m. when you were 15?
You used to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe this isn't all your fault.
Oh, I love my mom to death, and she knows that I am a total mama's boy. But her ex-husband, not my dad, but the one after, he thought he was going to be a famous singer. So he would take her to karaoke, and he was into it. No, we're gonna rip. Mm-hmm. And I was always an anxious kid. So, I was 13, 14 years old, and my mom and my stepdad wouldn't be home till 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'd panic. They didn't live in a very nice neighborhood in Daytona, so I'd freak out. So I remember that my stepdad's solution was well, then just bring him to the bar with us.
Most great singers start doing karaoke. That's how Bruce Springsteen came up like that in Jersey.
So I was 15 years old doing Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, at 1 in the morning at a karaoke bar.
Just getting ripped?
No, I wasn't getting ripped, but everyone else around. I didn't start drinking until I was 18, 19, but everyone else around me was getting hammered.
Yeah.
But God, so that's not, I only bring that up because I always assume it's our experience. So I always assume my experience is similar to everyone around me.
Right.
So whenever I talk to someone and they talk about party stories, I'm like, oh, well, who was the cool parent? Who was the one you used to drink with? Yeah. So it's always hilarious when people are like, neither. You fucking psycho. This happens with Savannah all the time. I'll be like, yeah, your family doesn't do that. And she's like, no.
Yeah, that's just you.
What's wrong with you? So back, Dad, stepmom going into the city, see a show, and you're like, we're doing it.
Yeah. I'm like, I just called my stepbrother. I'm like, yo, we should throw a party tonight. They're going to be out of town. He's like, oh, I didn't even know.
How much older is your stepbrother?
We're the same age.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So he's like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And what happened? Sorry, I just spaced out completely.
So what kind of, so you were in the North Shore in Jersey. What kind of, is it a big, like if you don't mind my asking, is it a big house, smaller house, basement? Like what, talk to me. What do we got going on?
It's like a basement and then 2 floors, but the top floor is like just bedrooms. And there's like a pretty regular sized house. I would say. Not like huge or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
this is always interesting to me because in the Northeast, houses are way smaller than they are in the South. Just because of price points and stuff. Like everything's so much more expensive up here.
Yeah.
So like I have friends that I grew up with where they seem like now I walk into places up here and I'm like, oh, like my friends have like palatial mansions compared to this. And it's really just like a 4-bedroom house, but it's like.
It's a huge one.
Yeah, it's huge. Like I literally came from a 3-bedroom house with a yard, fenced in backyard to a 1-bedroom apartment that's like not even 600 square feet.
Yeah, that's a tough adjustment.
Yeah. Well, so it's always interesting to me when I talk to people who are from the Northeast because I always find that fascinating. Like the environment I grew up in versus the environment you guys grew up in.
Yeah. I think it was a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah. So basement ripe for the partying.
Well, we did a party on the main floor.
Yeah.
But so we're like, there weren't like a lot of parties, like house parties like that when I was growing up. Like I really never went to one.
So you've mentioned this a couple times now. Was it a strict community or people just weren't ripping and running?
It was like, it's like relatively religious.
Because I was shunned, for lack of a better term, and bullied as an outcast because I didn't party. I didn't drink. Like I saw what drinking did to people around me and I was like, oh, I'll never touch that stuff. And then, irony. I'm the one who became an alcoholic. But it's interesting to me because you've already mentioned that you know, obviously you didn't drink or party or anything with your parents. You know, nobody really started drinking until later on in life. There wasn't a lot of house parties going on. So was it you said it was a pretty religious neighborhood? Yeah.
It's like a pretty like tight Jewish community.
Okay.
There was like drinking going on. I think I probably just wasn't invited. For sure. But there was like, people were drinking for sure, but like not like huge parties. It'd be like small or like 5 of us or like just hanging out.
Yeah, because like it's definitely different than the way I came up. We had like 7 or 8 friends, like either my friends or family friends, like from my brothers and sisters that died from DUIs and drinking and driving by the time we were like 20. Yeah, so I don't remember like anyone that I grew up with having that. Yeah.
I don't think that's happened.
So a little more laid back in the North Shore of New Jersey.
It's like a pretty like sheltered community, I'd say, like pretty closed off.
But you're about to blow it all out of the water with this party.
I guess so. Yeah. So we said like let's just throw a party, like let's have a small thing like BYOB, like everyone just like bring some stuff, let's hang out, you know. And my stepbrother, he had a fake ID at the time.
Okay.
And
because you look older.
Older than what?
25.
Oh, yeah.
Like because you have like a full beard and
thank you.
Thick hair and that powerful jawline.
Oh, wow. I'd lost a bunch of weight. Thank you for noticing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Did you really?
Yeah, I lost like 20 pounds this year.
Good shit.
Yeah. I went for a run today. Crazy stuff.
That's what you said. Then you're going to do 12 push-ups and kick the shit out of Andrew.
Yeah, that's not a lie. I'm going to do that. Yeah. But yeah, so we said like BYOB, but then he had a fake ID, so he ended up like buying a bunch of stuff. So we had a lot of alcohol, plus everyone was bringing their own
beer, wine, or liquor. Liquor has to be liquor, right?
Liquor and beer.
Yeah, because when you're young, you don't realize that.
Well, we were drinking like Miller High Lifes.
Yeah, champagne.
Yeah, the champagne at Miller High Lifes and like Smirnoff Ice. Like that was we were ready to party.
For those of you listening, I was just trying to take a sip of my water, and then he said Smirnoff Ice and almost spit all over the microphone.
But back then, it wasn't ironic. That was the best thing you could drink.
Yeah. Zimas were ironic back then.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is?
I have no idea what that is.
That was Smirnoff Ice before Smirnoff Ice.
Got it. That sounds delicious then.
God, I fucking hate myself.
I mean, it's just alcohol juice. Like, you can't beat that.
Well, so Zimas were like, so they have seltzer water or seltzer beer now, seltzer alcohol now.
Like White Claws?
Yeah.
You're right.
That's what Zima was. Okay. And everyone fucking ripped on it because they're like, this is garbage. Like, this is just alcoholic soda water. This is disgusting. Like, tore it to shreds.
So it was just ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time. Way ahead.
I mean, yeah, White Claw was huge when I was in college. Is when it,
dude, White Claw is still huge.
No, but that's when it like started.
Yeah. God, I remember when that happened. I was like, this will never take off. And then everyone started doing it.
They're the best.
The seltzers?
Yeah.
Hard seltzer? Where was that when I was dying of alcohol poisoning? You know what I mean?
Helped?
No,
but
okay. I wasn't a malt guy. I only drank liquor. That was my thing.
Yeah.
That was like my staple.
That's good.
So beer, liquor, Smirnoff Ices. We're partying in the North Shore.
Yeah. And then I don't know.
How many people showed up?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. Everybody.
So it was supposed to be a small get together, BYOB, and it turns into this massive party.
We got lucky because there just happened to be another house party that night.
Okay. So
like it kind of split the town a little bit, which was great. But like the house was overrun. It was like it was completely insane. I was over 100 people throughout the night.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, especially from like a small little.
I was gonna say, and we also, being in the world of comedy, we're a lot more in tune to how many people 100 people really is.
Yeah, it was a good amount of people.
Because I've done shows before where it's 60 people and you're like, damn, this is packed.
Yeah.
So 100 people, I couldn't imagine.
That's what I was told. Like I said, like from the second it started, I was just.
So what happened? You just started doing shots and lost it?
Shots, beer, just getting after it. I'm about to go to college. I'm like gearing up. Like this is going to be my life for 4 years. I have to start now. And we were just getting ripped. A lot of people came. And then at some point in the night, I was just like, all right, I'm going to the next party. See you. And I just left.
You left your own house?
I left my own house. My dad actually got really mad about that. And then I told him, like, well, my ID actually has mom's address on it. My stepbrother's ID has this address on it. So I feel like I didn't even leave my house. So he really did not like that. He did not like that at all.
Don't you love it when you think you come up with a solid argument and they're like, how about I fucking punch you in the throat?
Yeah,
like, you idiot.
How about you're lucky no one died last night?
Yeah, exactly.
But I just left.
Where did you go? Do you remember?
I went to the other house party. I was wasted already when I showed up there. And everyone was like, aren't you having a party right now?
Hey, you guys! Papa Bear's home. Let's party.
Yeah, my sisters didn't know about my party. I never told, like, they weren't invited to it, which they also were annoyed about, but.
So what happened? So we fast forward, you black out.
Yeah.
You end up back home, I assume.
I went to that second house party, and then we went to like this, it's like a late night food spot, I guess, and I just like threw up everywhere there. Like it was bad.
Oh, man.
It was so bad. And then I woke up the next day at home, and my dad came back from the city.
So they came back. Your dad and your stepmom came back.
Yeah. I slept at my mom's house that night, actually.
Okay.
So I didn't even sleep at my dad's house. My stepbrother calls me. He's like, hey, I just cleaned up the whole house. We're good. I'm like, oh, perfect. All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Then my dad.
I expected that phone call to be like, hey, asshole, get your ass over here and help me clean up the house.
No, he's like, yeah, we're all set, cleaned up. I'm like, all right, perfect. Then we can go back to sleep. Then what happened? Oh, my dad. My dad gets home and he calls me. He's like, hey, the entire house smells like beer. Get over here right now.
Oh, so even though your brother cleaned the house, it was still...
I showed up. It wasn't clean. I don't know what he was talking about. He just thought he cleaned it, I guess.
You showed up and you're like, what the... This is not...
A complete mess. Like the floors are sticky. The tables are sticky. Everything's disgusting there. And my dad has like a voicemail on his phone from our neighbor in the backyard, and they're just like, hey, we know you had fun last night. Someone broke a bottle in front of our house. Can you just come clean it up? And like, no big deal. So my dad knew before he even showed up.
Before he even got there.
We didn't even come close to getting away with it. And that was like my cousin. He like just smashed a bottle in front of their house and just like left. So yeah. And
what happened?
Honestly, nothing.
Were you grounded? Did you get in any sort of trouble?
They were like really mad, but I was going to college in like 2 weeks, so like nothing really happened.
Yeah, there's nothing they can really do.
Yeah, they're just like, be careful, I guess.
Did they hit you with the we're more disappointed than than angry, or were they just...
No, they were angry.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many great clips for this fucking episode.
They were like, hey, if someone
they were angry
and kills someone, we're liable.
Yep, 100%.
I'm like, but you weren't here. Like, no, it doesn't matter. I'm like,
they got drunk at your house. The same thing. We have to do like a 3.5 hour test for restaurants.
What do you mean, for like over serving?
Yeah, it's like a whole alcohol class that we have to do. It's like 3.5 hours, and it's all for that whole reason because.
I've never seen someone abide by that.
Well, that's the thing is like, especially in New York, because there's subways and like this used to happen in Florida all the time where people would get blackout drunk and then they would just look at me as their server and be like, no, I'm taking an Uber. It's like, all right, well, you're still being a belligerent like asshole. Like that doesn't give you carte blanche to just get shithoused.
Right.
But yeah, that's a very, I mean, your dad's right. That's a very
for sure. I
thing.
Shouldn't have done it, but I was 17 and I did. So
yeah, fuck it. You learn by doing.
Yeah. A few weeks later, we were in college and he sends me and my stepbrother like in a group chat. He goes like, what the fuck is this? And it's just a picture of trash bags like falling out from under like the porch.
Your brother tried to hide them?
He just hid them all under there and didn't tell anybody. And we're both in college and we're just like, that's pretty funny actually. At that point, my dad, I think, laughed about it a little bit.
That is funny where he's like, son of a bitch.
Like, you didn't even just like put them in
little
the
Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Hey!
It was awesome though. But yeah, that was a fun party, I think.
That's great. Let's talk about your 19th birthday.
Oh, that was a bad one.
So this is a couple years later.
Yeah.
In college. Where did you go to college, by the way?
Binghamton.
Okay.
Upstate New York.
Yeah, I know Binghamton.
New York
I'm a big
School.
PTI fan. Tony Kornheiser went to Binghamton.
I have no idea what that is.
Pardon the interruption.
I am. I do know what that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Binghamton Bearcats.
Binghamton Bearcats. Yeah, that's it. So I was back in the city for the summer.
Okay.
My birthday's in August.
So wait, when you say back in the city, you mean were you staying at your folks' house or were you back like living in the city? What's going on?
I had internships in the city every summer, so I'd like stay with family here and then on the weekends go back home to Jersey.
Got it.
The beach and all that stuff.
Yeah.
During the week I was here.
So you're in the city.
Yeah, I came. Actually, this was on a weekend. I came for the weekend just because my birthday. I went to see all my college friends. They all live, Westchester, Long Island. So Manhattan was just the spot to meet up.
And you're 19, so it's not like you can get too crazy.
But we had like...
Or can you?
No, you can. Especially in the city. Like we had fake IDs. We were already in college for a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Like in Binghamton, we were like fake IDs are just like...
See, where I came up...
Everyone has one. I was going to bars since I was like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, see, we didn't do, I mean, obviously this was about 10 years before you were doing it, but we didn't do the fake ID. Let me speak for me. I didn't do the fake ID thing. I did this trick that my dad inadvertently, I think, taught me.
Would you chalk it or something?
No, it's that if you want anything in the service world, you pay for it. So I learned at a young age that like you throw a little money around and people are a lot. I used to do this when I would go to bars well into my 20s was you give the bartender a 50, you ask for one drink, you give him a 50, you go, that's for you. Just remember my face.
Yeah.
So when the bar's 3 deep, you just walk up and give them a little wave and they go, got you right now. Here you go.
Yeah.
And so when I was in college, like when I was 19, 20, and first started drinking and stuff, one, I was a Division I football player. Right. So, you didn't really have to worry about getting carded in the first place. But two, I would go into bars. And when I would order my drink and they'd ask for my ID, I'd put like a 50 or a couple of 20s under my ID and hand it to them.
Right.
So then they would just pull the money and go, all right, you're good.
Yeah. We, in Binghamton, like...
But you guys just had fake IDs.
Everyone had fake IDs. Everyone got in with them. There was like, when I was a senior in college, we were hanging out with like... I had like a friend from high school that was a freshman that he went to Binghamton, so we were hanging out with him and some of his friends, just like showing them around the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
And... he came with like some girls and they didn't have fake IDs yet. So it's like this like blonde girl used my roommate's fake ID and he's just like this, big hairy Jew with like a full beard in the picture. And she showed it to them at the bar and she just got right in.
Wow.
Like they didn't care up in Binghamton. Like,
yeah, they
showed them anything.
As long as you showed them something, because it's not their responsibility. They're not going to call you out.
Right.
Like,
show them something with the correct date on it.
And they don't care. Yeah. Okay.
Once in a while, we'd like get word that the bars were getting raided, and then you just wouldn't go out that night. And the bars would get raided. But I don't know how. I guess like someone told someone, but it was always accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that's insane.
Yeah, we'd just be like sitting in like the dining hall eating late night, and we see like hundreds of students like show up like, yep, bars got shut down tonight.
Damn.
But that was like once a year maybe.
Yeah, but they did it just enough to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah, but like not even. No one cared. It was... Yeah.
So you're in the city, turning 19, fake IDs, ready to party.
Yeah, I didn't drink that whole summer.
Oh, okay.
I barely drank that summer after, I think literally probably 0 times, maybe once between, after freshman year. I was just like working and
living life.
Yeah, exactly. Just like.
You don't strike me as the person who's dependent upon alcohol, so.
In some ways I am, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this summer you were not. You were.
Yeah. But so yeah, I
Summer Isaac.
Exactly. Summer Isaac was just here to chill and like do finance or whatever I was supposed to be doing. And
so what happens?
Yeah, so I took a train from Jersey to the city for the weekend.
Staying at a friend's house, hotel? Where are you staying?
I was staying someone in my family.
Okay.
I remember. But we get there. Me and they're still my good friends, but one of my friends got there like the same time as me. The rest were coming a little later. We got like just like a 6-pack of like, Reds.
Smirnoff Isis?
Yeah, exactly. No, like the Reds.
Red Stripe?
No, what the hell is it? Like cider, like the Reds.
Okay, yeah.
Orchard cider.
Yeah.
And we just split a 6-pack of it, like pretty
chill,
like bitchy drink. Yeah, like it's not like we're getting like ripped on shots yet or anything. We just had a few of those, and the rest of the friends come, and all I remember having, and everyone else agrees with me, is like 1 or 2 shots of whiskey. Like no one,
and you're gone like that.
I don't know how or why.
This
felt
is
like
so
I had
fascinating to me.
Yeah, and everyone said it the next day too. Like they're like, no, we don't know how you got so wasted. And all I know is I started walking to the bar with them. And then I woke up in the hospital. Like everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everything else had to be filled in after. And like they told me the whole story. Like I just like fell. Like I had like my whole like face was like bruised and cut up and shit. And
so you were just walking in the bar, fell down, and
like we made it like maybe 100 feet out of the apartment. Like we were not even close. And it was over for me. They all lifted me up. They tried to like carry me home. And then like cops came by and like, is he okay? Like, yeah, he's fine. Like, not a big deal. Like I was passed out on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
The cops came back a few minutes later and they said, we're going to have to call the ambulance for this. So the ambulance.
You're carrying a limp body around the city.
Yeah.
This doesn't look good for us, you guys.
No, it was bad. Yeah. They're like, we got to take care of him. So the ambulance came and they, what happened? Yeah, I guess they picked me up and like they tried to put me on the stretcher and like my pants just like fell off. And the cops were there. They like take a flashlight, shine them on me. They're like, hey, can we get a blanket to cover this thing over here? And they're looking through. They see like my fake ID. They take the fake ID.
Yeah.
And then like literally I just wake up in the hospital the next day and I was like still drunk. Like I had like the IV in my arm. I just try like ripping it out, and the nurses are like,
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, they're like, hey, you need to sign this paper to leave. And I was still wasted. And I was wearing what was I wearing? I was wearing a white sweatshirt and white sweatpants because I threw up all over my clothes.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I like thought I was dead when I woke up. I'm like, what's like everything is white. Like this is crazy.
Did you ever get a toxicology report back?
I have no idea.
Okay. Because I'd be interested to know if maybe something happened to one of your drinks, or maybe one of your buddies was like, yeah, let's have a little more fun and like put something in it.
We never did drugs.
Yeah. See, that's bananas to me. Because you're not the first person I've had on this show where, and again, it all comes back to our experiences where they've only had like 1 or 2 drinks and then they're out like a light.
It was crazy. But yeah, maybe I had a lot more. But I don't think I did. Like I was.
Well, yeah. If you have a tolerance that's not built up, or if your body's not accustomed to it, or some people just react differently.
Yeah, but like that whole year prior, I was drinking like a maniac and blacking out and having like 100 drinks a night.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I guess taking the summer off.
It is a weird thing because I've been in situations before where if I binge drink too much, like I almost feel like I can't get drunk.
Right.
Like I'm almost like cognitive of what's happening, and
I've never
like,
had that.
So when I got my second DUI, I blew, and the guy was like, "All right, so it was like 0.28," and the guy was like, "All right, so legally, if this was 0.02 higher, if it was 0.3 or higher, we have to legally take you to the hospital for alcohol poisoning."
Right.
And he goes, "But you're having a full-on conversation with us," and I go, "Yeah," and he's like, the fuck? Like
so
normally
like
people are dying.
Yeah.
Like at this point. Well, when I got rushed to the ER for alcohol poisoning, when I almost died the last time I drank, it was like 0.35. And that's when I was like,
yeah, that's
like
crazy.
Gone.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's the one. I try to tell this on stage, but it's a little too dark. People don't laugh or think it's as funny as I do. But the doctor goes, you should have been dead hours ago. I don't even know how you're still alive. And I go, well, I've been training for this my whole life.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No, surprisingly. So you black out, end up in the hospital. How do you get out of the hospital? Do you just leave?
Pretty much. Like,
did you sign the paperwork?
Well, they're like, hey, your friends were here. Like, they thought you were going to die. Like, they were like drunk too, like crying for hours. Like, they thought you were dead.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's sweet. But they were just like wasted too.
Yeah.
And then you
gotta save him. Give him the shot. Like fucking Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, right in the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I like it.
I just want to make sure because...
I mean, I grew up like watching like old movies.
Okay. Well,
with my
go fuck yourself. All right.
Pulp Fiction, that's not an old movie?
No, it is an old movie. I remember when it came out.
Well, I was thinking more like Blazing Saddles and stuff.
Yeah,
like
those fucking old ancient movies. Fuck those guys.
Is that not old?
No, you are right.
Oh,
Blazing
okay.
Saddles is old. Pulp Fiction, I remember when it came out, so I don't think of it as like an old movie.
Oh, to me, that's a pretty old movie.
Yeah. So
anyway, I signed the paperwork. But I don't like. I was like so dry. I just like signed something.
Just scribbled it and then
started walking. And it was like 6 a.m. I found a taxi. I was still like wasted. I felt like shit. And I went back to the apartment. All my friends were like on the couch, just like surprised to see me. They're like, "Oh, thank God, you made it back."
Yeah, you made it back all the way on your own too.
Yeah, I don't know how
to get like basically to fall down, get the shit kicked. Not literally, but like to be all that beat up and then just find your way back from the hospital.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "What the fuck?" We were expecting a phone call.
Yeah, it was rough. I think my phone was probably dead or something.
So what ends up happening? Do you continue to celebrate or do you just?
Well, we're only supposed to go out that one night. So
okay.
So they just like filled me in on the like what happened that night that I missed, which was me going.
And then you have to be at work at your internship on the next morning.
No, that was a Saturday night. So I was going back to Jersey.
Okay.
You know what? My internship might have ended. That's why I was
going to say, because if it happened Saturday night, that means Sunday you're getting the recap, and then you would have to be back at work on Monday.
Yeah, I think my internship ended by then.
Okay.
I think. Because I went back, I know for a fact I went back to Jersey Sunday, and my dad picks me up from the train. He's like, "Hey, how was it? Good time?" And I was just like dead serious. I'm like, nah, it wasn't good. I'm like, something bad happened.
I can just imagine your dad being like, "Yeah, this is what you get for throwing house parties when I'm out of town, you son of a bitch."
He already forgot about it. This was a year later.
Karma comes back around, doesn't it, Isaac?
So, yeah, I guess it does. But I had like my face, like I said, I had like cuts on my face.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to him? Like, I don't know. I woke up in the hospital, and that was more of a more disappointed and worried than anything.
Yeah, because that's a scary thing for a father to hear. Like, I don't know what happened. I woke up in the hospital. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Terrible. And my mom's like, "Does this every time you drink, do you end up in the hospital?" I'm like, "No, obviously not." But it happened this time.
You would have been dropped from your insurance if that was the case.
Literally, yeah. And then she told me like, "Oh, this is like a super expensive bill. This is not great." And
did you have insurance?
Yeah, I was 19. I was on my parents.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That's the thing now. Is like I've been having these weird spells of like getting sick, like randomly. It's almost like a food poisoning, but it just happens at the most random time. So I was talking to my dad about it. He goes, "You need to go to the doctor." And I was like, yeah, I'll go to the doctor. And then I hung up the phone. I was like, "I don't have health insurance. I'm not going to the doctor. Like, this is just something I deal with now."
Just power through it.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Most days I feel great, so it's fine.
Right.
And then some days I wake up and just vomit, even though I haven't had a drink in 4 years.
You should go to the doctor. You probably have ulcers or something. No?
Yeah, who knows? All right, let's keep it on you.
All right.
All right. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was you texted me visiting colleges.
Yeah.
So was this like something? Obviously, this is between high school and college, or was this junior to senior year of high school?
I think this was during senior year.
Okay, because that's when we would take our official visits and stuff. It was the summer between junior and senior year, and then our senior year is when we would go. Like I'm talking about for sports.
Right, I guess it's different for that, right? It's more of an official process.
Yeah. They're literally called official visits.
Okay, yeah, no, we didn't. We just like
went. You guys just went. Did you know people at the schools, or did you just show up and?
We only really went to Binghamton.
Oh, okay. So what happened?
So we knew there was.
So you're seniors in high school.
We're seniors in high school. There was a kid that graduated from my high school that went to Binghamton.
Okay.
So we coordinated to go stay by him. The school let us, I think, like miss class on Friday because we were going to visit a college.
How far north is it?
3.5 hour drive.
Oh, okay. So it's not something you could just do on a whim. Like you got to plan it.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, that's why they gave you the day off.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not it's not like a day trip.
Right. Yeah, we were going for the whole weekend just to check it out. So it was 4 of us from my grade, me and 3 other guys, and we drove up to Binghamton, and it was just like, this is like from the second we got there, like, oh shit, like college is going to be sick, like
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, like Friday night we did like all like the Jewish stuff. We went to like Chabad, whatever, like drank a little bit, like nothing crazy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually I do. I dated a Jewish girl in college.
Okay, yeah.
Like, and her parents were very, not Orthodox, but pretty religious.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, for my international law class, I wrote a paper on the self-identifying sovereignty of Palestine.
Uh-huh.
And I got a really good grade on it.
Nice.
And she showed her parents.
Oh, they didn't like it, huh?
At all. Because her dad's a doctor, and she's like, yeah, Brennan's going to go to law school, and he's, like, look at this paper he wrote. Like, this is such a good paper. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Of all the things you could show them.
I wrote one about Israel as like a fake. Show them that.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, it talks about how I was like, God, what are you doing? So yeah, I'm very aware of
Jews. Yeah,
the Jewish culture.
You wrote a paper on decriminalizing Jews, and
so Friday night, you guys do your thing.
Yeah, just
Shabbat Shalom.
Exactly. You know, had a few drinks, like nothing crazy. We were just hanging out. But then Saturday night, we
were on.
We're here to party.
The Sabbath, baby. Let's
go.
Oh
yeah. Right when it ended, we were drinking.
Now, I'm curious. Did you black out again on this one?
Every single time I drank.
God damn.
Yeah, well, that's why I had to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings us full circle. So you go there, you party, things get crazy.
Yeah.
Did you do anything stupid? Like end up in the hospital?
I didn't end up in the hospital. But we like went to frat parties. Like I couldn't drink Jack Honey for years after that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but it was just like, yeah, I mean, like throwing up, like,
Again?
Yeah, like it was...
So this brings us full circle. So then a few months ago, you decided to just quit drinking.
Yeah.
Was that because of this constant pattern of just blacking out and getting sick?
For a couple years, I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to have to, even on like my 23rd birthday, like I had to like miss work the next day. Like that was like a pretty bad one. I was just thinking like, I was like, well, I'll stop drinking eventually, but I'm too young to stop now.
Yeah.
Is how I felt.
Yeah, I went to rehab at 25, and then at 26, I was like, I overreacted.
Yeah, I don't think I'll drink again. I'm pretty like.
Do you do like a program or anything, or you were just like, I'm tired of blacking out?
Yeah, I just like read some books and like I have like a lot of close friends that don't drink.
Yeah,
so it's like pretty.
See, I find that fascinating because I've had people on who don't drink anymore, and I think that's, and not to get too heady or too deep, but that's I talk about it a lot with people like my sponsees and my sponsor and stuff, is like the difference between alcoholics and heavy drinkers, because it's very defined in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. There's a very clear difference. And then there are people I know who like will drink till they black out and party, and then they'll just wake up one day and be like, yeah, I'm going to stop drinking, which I envy those people, because that's something I had to go to rehab and detox and jail and hospitals, and then finally work the steps of AA before I was like comfortable with not drinking.
Yeah.
So I always find it fascinating when I meet people like you, where you're like, yeah, I went from blacking out constantly, like doing dumb shit, to now I just woke up and I was like, yeah, I got to stop doing this.
But it wasn't really like that, because for a couple years I was still doing that, thinking like eventually I'll have to stop.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I tried to stop a couple times, but like...
Oh, okay. So I thought you just woke up one day and you were like, no, it's over.
I was just like, all right, I'm going to be done drinking, but I wouldn't tell anybody, because like I knew I wasn't done drinking, but I was like, well, if I'm going to just stop when I'm 28, why not just stop when I'm 25? Like, it doesn't make sense to like keep drinking for other people or for whatever reasons it was. But
do you find your life better, worse,
so
the
much
same?
better.
So much better?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, and I always push this on the show. I definitely don't want people to stop drinking or think this is like me harping on like sobriety, because there are times in my life where I fucking hate being sober. Like I hate it, because things happen and there's nothing. I'm a control freak and there's nothing I can do to fix them.
Right.
So I just want to drink them away, but I can't. And it's like it's that crutch that I'm like, I just wish I could do that. But my life is so much better. Like,
yeah, even on the worst day, it's better than like the best day, kind of. like just like mentally.
It's so funny you say that. I literally have a bit on stage where people in AA say my worst day sober is better than my best day drunk.
Yeah, it's probably something I picked up from Ginsburg. But I
always say, what a bunch of fucking losers. I had great days drunk.
So did I, but I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, that's and that blackout thing is insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, every time I was drinking, so it was just like ridiculous. Like you
just have spots of your life that are just gone.
Like most of it, yeah.
Damn, man. Well, this was great. I'm glad you came on.
Yeah, it was fun.
We're at the time, so plug everything one more time. Plug the show.
Yeah.
Plug your social media, all that.
Yeah, Village Idiot Comedy Show every Monday and Wednesday on Instagram at The Village Idiot. And then my Instagram is just IsaacG53.
Boom. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Thank you, Isaac, for coming
thanks for
on.
having me.
We've completed The Village Idiot.
Let's
I
do
got
it.
Hell Yeah, Village Idiot. I'm coming for rent money next.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that.
Brennan T. Comedy on all social media at Brennan T. Comedy, BrennanTComedy.com for show dates. I'll be in Ohio next month. And thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/BrennanTassif, and we'll talk to y'all next week.